My name is Rashid. I was 13 years old when I died. It happened on March 17th, 2019, in a small apartment in Manchester, England. That date is burned into my memory, not because of what I lost, but because of what I was given. A message, a warning, and a hope that changed everything. I need to tell you what I saw, what he told me, because time is running out and the world needs to hear this before it's too late. But let me start at the beginning. Part 1, before. Life before that day was normal, beautifully, boringly normal. I lived with my parents and my little sister Amira in a cramped 2-bedroom flat above a corner shop. My father worked at a warehouse, loading boxes from dawn until dusk. My mother cleaned offices at night. We didn't have much, but we had each other. We had prayers 5 times a day. We had Friday nights when Abu would bring home baklava, and Amira and I would fight over the last piece. I remember the smell of my mother's cooking, spiced lentils and fresh naan that filled our tiny kitchen with warmth. I remember my father's rough hands on my head after Fajr prayer, his whispered dua for my protection. I remember Amira's gap-toothed smile when I helped her with her homework. I was a good kid. Not perfect. I got distracted during Quran study. I complained about waking up for morning prayer. I sometimes envied my classmates who had nicer phones and bigger homes. But I tried. I prayed. I fasted during Ramadan, even when it was hard. I honored my parents. I believed in Allah with all my heart. I thought I knew everything about faith, about God, about what happens when we die. I was so wrong. That Tuesday started like any other. I woke to my mother's voice calling me for Fajr. The apartment was cold. The heating had broken again, and I pulled my blanket tighter, not wanting to leave its warmth. But I got up. I made wudu with freezing water that shocked me awake. I prayed beside my father in our small living room, forehead pressed to the worn prayer mat my grandmother had given us. After breakfast, toast with jam, tea with too much sugar, I walked to school with my best friend Omar. We talked about football, about the match on the weekend, about the girl in our class who Omar swore had smiled at him. Normal things, 13-year-old things. I remember the sky that morning. Gray, heavy with clouds that threatened rain but never delivered. The air tasted like diesel and damp concrete. I remember feeling restless, like something was coming. Like the air before a thunderstorm, electric and strange. I shook it off. By lunch, I'd forgotten all about it. Part 2, the death. It happened during PE class. We were playing football on the concrete pitch behind the school. I was running, chasing the ball, my heart pounding with exertion and excitement. Omar passed to me, a perfect shot across the field. I trapped it with my foot, pivoted, prepared to score. And then my chest exploded. Not with pain exactly, with pressure. Like someone had reached inside my ribcage and was squeezing my heart in their fist. The world tilted. The gray sky swung sideways. I couldn't breathe. I heard Omar screaming my name. I felt the concrete slam into my knees, then my shoulder, then my face. Cold, hard, unforgiving. I heard voices, distant, distorted, like I was underwater. Someone call an ambulance. Rashid, can you hear me? He's not breathing. Move back, give him space. I tried to speak, tried to say I'm okay, but my lips wouldn't move. My chest wouldn't rise. My heart was doing something terrible, something wrong, hammering and stuttering and stopping. The last thing I heard was my PE teacher shouting into his phone. He's 13 years old, collapsed, no pulse. Please hurry. And then there was nothing. 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 Until there was everything. Part 3, beyond the veil. I opened my eyes, except I didn't have eyes anymore. I was floating. No, not floating. Hovering. Suspended above my own body like a balloon on an invisible string. Below me, I could see myself, Rashid, 13 years old, wearing a blue PE kit, lying motionless on the concrete. My face was gray. My lips were blue. My eyes were open but empty, staring at nothing. It didn't look like me. It looked like a shell, a discarded coat. I felt no attachment to it. Teachers were kneeling beside my body. My PE teacher was doing chest compressions, counting out loud, his face red with effort and panic. Omar was crying, his hands over his mouth. Other students stood in a circle, some filming on their phones, some praying, some just staring. I wanted to tell them I was okay. I was here. I was watching. But I couldn't speak. I had no voice in this form. And then I heard it. A sound. No, the sound. The sound beneath all sounds, the frequency that holds the universe together. It was like music, but music made of light. It was like singing, but singing made of love itself. I turned, though I had no body to turn with, and I saw it. The tunnel. Everyone talks about the tunnel, the white light at the end, but they don't tell you what it feels like. It wasn't just light, it was homecoming. It was every moment you've ever felt loved, compressed into a single beam of radiance. It was your mother's arms when you were small, your father's pride when you did something right, your sister's laughter on a good day. It was safety. It was peace. It was rightness. I moved toward it, not walking, but willing myself forward. The concrete school, the gray sky, the panicked voices, they all fell away like a dream dissolving in morning light. I entered the tunnel, and I was consumed by love. The light grew brighter, but it didn't hurt my eyes. It healed them. It healed everything. Every fear, every wound, every moment of pain or loneliness or shame dissolved in that radiance like ice in summer sun. I could feel myself changing, expanding, remembering things I'd forgotten. Not memories from my life, but memories from before birth, before time, before the world. I remembered choosing this, choosing to be born, choosing my parents, choosing the struggles and the lessons and the love. I remembered home. And then, at the end of the tunnel, I saw him. Part 4, the presence. He was waiting for me in a garden. Not a garden like on Earth. This was primordial, perfect. The trees were taller than cathedrals, their leaves shimmering with colors I'd never seen before, colors that don't exist in the human spectrum. The flowers sang. Actually sang, each petal vibrating with music that moved through me like joy itself. The grass beneath my feet, I had feet again somehow, was soft as clouds, cool as spring water. The air tasted like honey and light. And there, standing beneath a tree that seemed to hold the universe in its branches, was Jesus. I knew him, instantly, the way you know your own face in a mirror. He looked nothing like the paintings. Nothing like the images I'd seen in my Christian classmates' homes or in books. He wasn't pale. He wasn't European. His skin was brown, weathered by sun and time. His hair was dark, wild, falling to his shoulders. His hands were calloused, the hands of a carpenter, a worker, a man who had lived and labored. But his eyes, oh, his eyes. They were ancient, infinite, filled with a love so vast, so complete, so unconditional that I fell to my knees and wept. Not from fear, from recognition. Rashid, he said, and his voice was everything. It was my father's voice and my mother's voice and the voice of the universe itself. It was gentle, so gentle. Welcome home, beloved. I couldn't speak. I could only stare. He smiled, and that smile broke me open. It was compassion without judgment, understanding without condition. He knew everything I'd ever done, every thought I'd ever had, every moment I'd failed or fallen or feared. And he loved me anyway. Completely. I don't understand, I finally whispered. I'm Muslim, I believe in Allah, I believe Muhammad, peace be upon him, is his prophet. I shouldn't be seeing you. Jesus laughed, not mockingly, warmly. The sound of it was like bells, like wind chimes, like a father amused by his child's innocent confusion. Oh, Rashid, he said, kneeling before me so we were eye to eye. Do you think the infinite can be contained by names? Do you think the creator of all things is limited by the labels humans create? He placed his hand on my chest, right over my heart, and I felt it, the connection, the oneness. Allah, God, Yahweh, the divine, the source, all the same, all one. You have loved the Father with all your heart, Jesus said. You have prayed, you have served. You have honored your parents and cared for the suffering. You have done well, my precious child." Tears streamed down my face. "Then why am I here? Why am I seeing you?" His expression changed. The warmth remained, but something else entered his eyes. Sadness, urgency. "Because I have a message," he said quietly, "and you must take it back." Part 5, The Visions. Jesus stood and extended his hand. I took it. His palm was warm, solid, more real than anything I'd ever touched, and the garden dissolved. We were standing in darkness. No, not darkness. Space. We were suspended in the cosmos, stars wheeling around us, galaxies spiraling in endless cosmic dance. Earth hung below us, blue and green and heartbreakingly beautiful. "Watch," Jesus said. And the visions began. First, I saw the earth as it is now. Cities pulsing with light. Billions of people, each a spark of the divine, each loved completely, each struggling and hopping and suffering and dreaming. I could feel their pain. The hungry child in Yemen, the lonely elder in Tokyo, the refugee in the camp, the addict in the alley. I could feel their joy. The mother holding her newborn, the farmer watching crops grow, the artist finishing a painting, the child laughing in the rain. All of it, all at once. The beauty was staggering. The suffering was unbearable. "They are all my children," Jesus whispered. "Every single one. Christian and Muslim and Hindu and Buddhist and atheist and everything in between. All made in the image of the divine. All beloved." "Then why do we suffer?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Because you have been given the greatest gift, choice," he said. "And with choice comes consequence. The suffering you see is not my will. It is the result of fear, of greed, of separation, of forgetting who you are." Then the visions shifted. I saw the future, or a possible future. The earth began to shake, not from earthquakes, but from energy. The whole planet was vibrating at a new frequency. I saw people waking up as if from a long sleep, their eyes opening, their hearts remembering. Some embraced the awakening with joy. They began to live with love, to serve one another, to heal the divisions that had plagued humanity for millennia. But others resisted. They clung to old hatreds, old fears, old systems of control. They chose power over love, domination over service, separation over unity. The contrast created a tension, like a rope being pulled from both ends, stretched tighter and tighter. "What happens?" I whispered. "Does the rope break?" Jesus looked at me with those infinite eyes. "That depends on choices not yet made." Then I saw the horror. Wars, not the wars of the past, fought with swords and guns. Wars fought with technology I couldn't understand. Machines making decisions. Weapons deployed with a click. Cities vanishing in light. I saw famines. Droughts that turned fertile lands to dust. Floods that swallowed coastlines. Millions of people on the move, searching for water, for food, for safety. I saw sickness. Plagues spreading through populations like wildfire. Hospitals overflowing. Mass graves. But worse than the physical suffering was the spiritual darkness. I saw people turning on each other. Neighbor against neighbor. Family against family. Divided by politics, religion, race, nationality. The divisions growing wider, the hatred deepening, the fear consuming everything. I saw the children. Oh God, the children. Growing up in a world where love had become rare, where trust had become naive, where hope had become foolish. I saw suicides, millions of them. People so lost in despair, so disconnected from source, that they chose to end their own lives. I watched and I screamed. "Stop, please stop." Jesus held me as I sobbed. His arms were strong, his presence steady. "This doesn't have to happen," he said firmly. "This is not destiny. This is warning. This is what occurs when humanity chooses fear over love." But then he showed me something else. Another path, another possibility. I saw people waking up, really waking up. Not just a few, millions all over the world. In every nation, every religion, every culture. They began to remember. Remember that they are connected. Remember that the earth is alive, sacred, worthy of care. Remember that every human being is a reflection of the divine. I saw communities forming, people coming together not based on religion or nationality, but based on shared values, compassion, service, love. They grew food together. They educated children together. They cared for the sick and the elderly together. I saw technologies emerging, not for control or destruction, but for healing. Clean energy. Medicine that worked with the body instead of against it. Communication that truly connected hearts instead of just transmitting information. I saw religious leaders from every tradition sitting together, recognizing the common thread: love. The same message preached by Krishna and Buddha and Mohammed and Jesus and Moses and Lao Tzu and every genuine prophet who ever lived. Love one another. Serve one another. Remember who you are. I saw the earth healing, forests regrowing, waters clearing, animals returning, the planet breathing a sigh of relief. And I saw something else, a shift, a spiritual evolution, humanity stepping into a new phase of consciousness, not leaving the body behind but embodying the spirit more fully, heaven and earth merging. It was beautiful beyond words. Can this really happen? I asked, hope rising in my chest like a bird taking flight. Jesus smiled. It already is, in pockets, in moments, in brave hearts all over your world, but it needs to spread. It needs to become a wildfire of love. Part 6, the message. We returned to the garden. I was shaking, overwhelmed by everything I'd seen. Jesus sat me down on a stone bench beneath the infinite tree. He took both my hands in his. Rashid, he said, I am sending you back. No, the word burst from me before I could stop it. Please, I don't want to go back. It's too hard, too painful. Here is perfect. Here is home. And you will return here when your work is complete, he said gently. But you have work to do, a message to deliver. What message? I whispered. He leaned close, his forehead nearly touching mine. Tell them this, he said, and his voice became like thunder and honey combined. The time of division is ending. The time of unity is beginning. Every soul must choose, fear or love, control or surrender, separation or oneness. Tell them that I am not what they think. I am not a tool for judgment or exclusion. I am not the property of any single religion. I am the embodiment of divine love, and that love is available to all. Muslim, Christian, Jew, Hindu, Buddhist, atheist, all are my children. All are invited to the feast. Tell them that religion is a path, not a prison. The rituals, the prayers, the holy books, these are fingers pointing at the moon. They are meant to help you connect with the divine, but do not worship the finger. Look at the moon. Tell them that the earth is sacred. She is not a resource to be exploited. She is a living being, your mother, your home. Treat her with reverence. Heal her, or perish with her. Tell them that the children are watching. Every choice the adults make now will echo through generations. Choose wisely. Choose love. Tell them that time is short, not because the world will end, but because the window for easy change is closing. The harder path, the path of catastrophe and forced awakening looms. But there is still time to choose the gentler way. His eyes bored into mine. And tell them this above all, they are not alone. They have never been alone. I am with them always, in their joy and their suffering, in their doubt and their faith. They are loved beyond measure. They are forgiven before they even ask. They are divine beings having a human experience, and they are meant to remember that truth. Tears poured down my face. How do I make them believe me? I'm just a kid, a Muslim kid. Why would anyone listen? Jesus smiled that impossibly gentle smile. Because you will speak from the heart. Because you will tell the truth of what you've seen. And truth has a resonance, Rashid. It vibrates at the frequency of love. Those who are ready will recognize it. But what if they don't? What if they reject me, mock me, hurt me? Then you will know you have truly followed in my footsteps, he said, and there was no bitterness in his voice, only compassion. The messenger is often rejected, but the message remains. Plant the seeds, trust the garden. He stood and helped me to my feet. You must go now, he said. Will I see you again? You will see me every time you see love in action, every time you witness compassion, every time you choose service over selfishness. I am there. I am everywhere. I am within you." He placed his hand over my heart once more. "Remember this feeling," he said. "This is your compass. When you are confused, return to it. When you are afraid, breathe into it. When you are lost, let it guide you home." And then he kissed my forehead, a gesture so tender, so fatherly, that I began to weep again. "Go now, beloved," Jesus whispered, "and tell them love is the answer. Love is always the answer." Part 7, The Return. The garden began to fade. I tried to hold on to it, to memorize every detail, the colors of the flowers, the music of the leaves, the feeling of absolute peace. But it slipped through my fingers like water. The tunnel appeared again, but now I was moving backward through it, away from the light, away from home. "I don't want to go," I screamed into the void. "Please." But even as I screamed, I could feel it, my body calling me back. My earthly body, that shell I discarded on the concrete pitch. I could feel hands on my chest, compressions, pain. I could hear voices. "Come on, Rashid, come on. Don't give up. We've got a pulse, we've got a pulse." The impact of returning was violent. I slammed back into my body like a diver hitting water from a great height. My chest exploded with pain. My lungs inflated with a desperate, gasping breath that felt like swallowing fire. My eyes flew open. Above me, the gray Manchester sky, the faces of my teachers, Omar's tear-stained cheeks. "He's back. Oh my God, he's back." I tried to speak, tried to say I saw him, I saw Jesus, I have a message, but all that came out was a choking gasp. The ambulance arrived. I was lifted onto a stretcher. Oxygen mask placed over my face. The world became a blur of sirens and fluorescent lights and concerned voices. But inside, I was still in the garden, still hearing his words, still feeling his love. "Tell them." That's all I could think as they rushed me to the hospital. I have to tell them. Part 8, Aftermath. I spent 3 days in the hospital. The doctors said I'd had a sudden cardiac arrest, a rare genetic condition they hadn't known about. They said I was clinically dead for nearly 4 minutes. They said it was a miracle I survived without brain damage. A miracle. I almost laughed. My parents were beside themselves. My mother barely left my side, her hands constantly checking my temperature, adjusting my blankets, whispering prayers of gratitude. My father, usually so stoic, wept openly when I first spoke to him. Amira crawled into the hospital bed with me, despite the nurses' protests, and fell asleep with her head on my shoulder. I wanted to tell them everything, right away, but something held me back. Fear. How could I tell my devout Muslim parents that I'd seen Jesus, that he'd given me a message? They would think I'd gone mad, or worse, that I'd betrayed our faith. So I stayed quiet, I recovered, I went home. But the visions haunted me. At night, I would lie awake, replaying everything I'd seen. The garden, the earth, the 2 paths, the horror and the hope. Jesus' words echoed in my mind like a drumbeat. Tell them, tell them, tell them. But I was terrified. I was 13 years old. I was Muslim. I lived in a community where talking about visions of Jesus would make me an outcast, or worse. I tried to go back to normal. I went back to school. I played football with Omar. I prayed 5 times a day. But I'd changed. Food tasted different. Colors looked brighter. Music moved me to tears. I couldn't watch the news without weeping for the suffering I saw, suffering I now understood so intimately. I looked at my classmates and saw them as Jesus had shown me. Sparks of the divine, each one precious, each one struggling. I looked at the earth, the trees outside my window, the birds on the wire, the rain on the pavement, and saw her as sacred. I couldn't unsee it. And I couldn't stay silent forever. Part 9, Speaking Truth. It started small. I began talking to Omar, carefully, testing the waters. "Do you ever think," I asked him one day, That maybe all religions are talking about the same thing, just in different languages. He looked at me strangely. What do you mean? Like, Allah, God, Yahweh. What if it's all the same? What if we're all climbing the same mountain, just taking different paths? Omar shrugged. Maybe. Why? I wanted to tell him, wanted to pour out everything I'd seen, but the fear held me back. Just thinking, I mumbled. But the pressure kept building. I started writing. Late at night, when everyone was asleep, I would fill notebook after notebook with everything I could remember. The garden, Jesus's words, the visions of Earth's future. I wrote about the choice facing humanity, fear or love, separation or unity. I wrote about the children watching us, the Earth crying out for healing, the time running short. My hand would cramp, but I couldn't stop. It was like the words were flowing through me, not from me. One night, my mother found me writing at 2 a.m. Rashid, she said softly, concern etched on her tired face. What are you doing? I looked up at her, and I saw her as Jesus had shown me, a soul of infinite worth, doing her best, carrying burdens I couldn't imagine, loving her children with everything she had. And I broke. I told her everything. She listened in silence as I poured it all out. The death, the tunnel, the garden, Jesus, the message. When I finished, I was shaking, terrified of her reaction. She was quiet for a long time. Then she took my hands in hers. Rashid, she said, her voice trembling, do you remember what the Quran says about Isa, about Jesus? I nodded. In Islam, Jesus, Isa, is revered as one of the greatest prophets. The Quran calls him Allah, my mother continued. The spirit of Allah, it says he performed miracles. It says he will return at the end times. She squeezed my hands. Maybe, she whispered, maybe what you saw is not a betrayal of our faith. Maybe it is a confirmation. Maybe the divine is trying to tell us something, trying to unite us. Tears streamed down my face. You believe me? I believe, she said, that Allah works in mysterious ways, and I believe my son's heart. You have always been honest, Rashid. Why would you lie about this? She pulled me into her arms. Tell your story, she whispered. If it brings people closer to love, closer to God, whatever name they use, then it is a good thing. Part 10, The Mission. That was 5 years ago. I'm 18 now. I'm still Muslim. I pray, I fast, I honor my faith. But I've expanded. I've studied Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism. I've found the common thread in all of them. Love, compassion, service, unity. The specifics differ, the rituals vary, but the essence is the same. And I've been telling my story, carefully at first to friends, to teachers, to small groups, then more widely, online, in talks at interfaith centers, anywhere people will listen. The reactions have been mixed. Some people embrace the message with tears of relief. They've felt this truth in their bones, and hearing it spoken aloud gives them permission to believe it. Others reject it violently. I've been called a liar, a heretic, a false prophet. I've received threats. I've lost friends. But I keep speaking, because the visions haven't stopped. I still see them, especially when I pray or meditate. I see the earth at a crossroads. I see the two paths diverging, and I see the choice points approaching, moments when humanity as a whole will decide which direction to take. War or peace, destruction or healing, fear or love. And I feel the urgency growing. Part 11, The Message for You. So here I am, telling you this story. Maybe you're Muslim like me. Maybe you're Christian. Maybe you're atheist or agnostic or spiritual but not religious. It doesn't matter. This message is for you. You are loved beyond measure, beyond comprehension, beyond anything you can imagine. The creator of the universe knows your name, knows your struggles, knows your heart, and loves you completely. You are not alone. Even in your darkest moments, even when you feel abandoned, even when you doubt, the divine is with you. In you, as you. You are more powerful than you know. Every choice you make ripples out into the world. Every act of kindness shifts the collective consciousness. Every moment of love raises the vibration of the entire planet. You might think, I'm just one person. What difference can I make? Everything. You can make everything different. Start where you are. Start small. Choose love over fear in one conversation, one interaction, one decision. Forgive someone who hurt you. Serve someone in need. Speak truth even when it's uncomfortable. Protect the earth in one small way. Teach one child about compassion. These are not small acts. These are revolutionary acts. And when millions of people commit to these small revolutions, the world transforms. Here's what I'm asking you to do. First, examine your heart. Where are you choosing fear? Where are you choosing separation? Where are you buying into the lie that some people are more valuable than others? Where are you harming the earth? Be honest. Don't shame yourself. Just notice. Second, choose differently. In one area of your life, commit to choosing love. Maybe it's in your family relationships. Maybe it's in how you treat yourself. Maybe it's in your work or your community or your relationship with nature. Just one area. Start there. Third, speak your truth. Not aggressively, not self-righteously, but clearly. Share what you believe in. Share what matters to you. Don't hide your light to make others comfortable. The world needs your voice. Fourth, connect. Find others who are walking this path. You are not alone. All over the world, people are waking up. Find them, join with them, support each other. Together, we are unstoppable. And fifth, remember. Every single day, take a moment to remember who you really are. Not just a body, not just a name or a nationality or a religion. A spark of the divine. A child of the Creator. A being of infinite worth and immeasurable love. Remember. Part 12, the hope. I know the world looks dark right now. I know it's easy to feel hopeless. I see the news. I see the division, the hatred, the suffering. But I'm telling you, the game is not over. The story is not written yet. We are in the middle chapters, the part where everything seems lost, where the heroes are battered and broken, where darkness seems to have won. But this is not the end. The climax is coming, the moment when humanity chooses, and we can choose the path of healing, the path of unity, the path of love. It won't be easy. The old systems will resist. The structures of power and control will fight back. There will be chaos as the old world dies and the new one is born. But birth is always messy, always painful, and always worth it. I've seen what's possible. I've seen the earth healed. I've seen humanity awakened. I've seen heaven and earth merged. It's real. It's available. We just have to choose it. So I'm asking you, whoever you are, wherever you are, choose love. Not because it's easy, not because it's comfortable, but because it's the only way forward. Choose love when someone cuts you off in traffic. Choose love when your political opponent speaks. Choose love when your child disobeys. Choose love when you look in the mirror and see all your flaws. Choose love, choose love, choose love. This is the message Jesus gave me. This is the message I'm giving you. And this is the message I will spend the rest of my life sharing, no matter the cost. Because I have seen the garden. I have felt the infinite love of the divine. I have been given a glimpse of what we can become. And I refuse to let that vision die. My name is Rashid. I'm 18 years old. I died when I was 13, and I came back with a message. The time of division is ending. The time of unity is beginning. Choose love. The future of the world depends on it. And I promise you, it will be worth it. Thank you for listening. Now go, live, love, transform. The world is waiting for you.